Cocodona 250 training. Final day till I see Mark in Cocodona, well, in Arizona. We don't really know what Cocodona actually stands for. I don't think it's a location, but final day before I see Mark in Arizona to pace him, and I'll actually see him when he's over 100 miles into the 250 mile race. So it's important that we get one final day together, right? Yeah.
Let's get these snackies going.
4:45 a.m. about to head out onto the trails, which means headlamps on. It is a cold and windy morning. We're ready to get after it. We're bundled up pretty well, and we expect that it'll warm up pretty nicely as the morning goes on. We've got about 7 hours out on the trails this morning. Pretty significant elevation gain that we'll get to train on in preparation for Cocodona. And that will be about 28 miles, hopefully in just under 7 hours if we're moving pretty well. But we'll be a little bit slower out on the start since it's dark out here. Get some practice with headlamps, get some practice working together as a team, as I get the great honor of pacing Mark for the final 100 miles in Cocodona. So we are ready to go. Step off here in about 2 minutes for our adventure. I'm ready when you are. You ready?
Yeah, I guess so.
Here we go. And we're off. So we ran 14 miles on this route 2 days ago. So we know pretty much what to expect. Really great elevation gain and loss, at least for what both Mark and I are used to. But this first mile is the most elevation gain we'll get. And we're gonna run a 7 mile out and back. So we'll get 14, and then we'll go aid station at the car, and then we'll get 14 more miles to finish it off for 28 on the day. Whoa, am I going the wrong way? Right there. Oh, I was about to say, I was thinking this trail's in worse condition than I remember it. We might be off-roading today if I'm in front. First big climb done. Now we can kind of open up the legs. It's a lot more slope, and of course, as I say that, it's a lot more slick out here today. We've gotten a lot of rain in the last few days, so we do have to be careful of our footing, especially in the dark. So we're gonna definitely be conservative. Fun story, when we were out here on Tuesday, there was a tornado warning about 2/3 of the way through our first out and back. We were gonna do more miles than 14. Only ended up going 14 because of tornado warning. I think Mark thought he was gonna lose his life. It was actually his birthday, and it was also his first experience with a tornado, or a potential tornado. So that was a good time, right, Mark?
Yeah, I'll come there.
Great. Life advice: the biggest hills always follow a road crossing. We've climbed enough to where we're looking out over town and city, and there's just something so peaceful about trail running in general. Running in and of itself, to me, is extremely peaceful, and the majority of running I do on a week-to-week basis is road running. But to get out here on the trails early in the morning, and even as we head into mid-morning and afternoon, it's just quiet, it's peaceful, there's solitude. If you've never gone trail running, or even just gone on a hike on the trails, I would highly recommend it. Work it into your schedule a few times a month if you can, and you'd be shocked, no matter where you're from, that there are trails accessible to so many areas. Even if it's just a slight drive to get there, it's worth the time. About to hit the 7-mile turnaround point to head back to the car for out and back number 1. We've been consuming a lot of ultra running content this week as Mark's been in town to train and mentally and physically prepare. And a big takeaway for me was the idea of patience. Ultra running is so much about patience, and I think the first 7 miles of today's run is a testament to that. You know, it's dark, the terrain's pretty slick out here, and we've had to be patient. And the hope in ultra running is that when you're patient and you do the right things in each given moment, it prepares you for the opportunity to push. And I think we'll probably see that represented in today's run. We'll have the opportunity to push a little bit the latter half of today's run, but first few miles of this, as we wait for the sun to come up, is about patience. And patience is going to be a really important part of Cocodona 250. You want to explore a little bit more now that we're up here?
Up in the next like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So, our next 2 miles, halfway there.
Yep. Dude, the zipper popped off. You got a little strap you pull up and down the zipper?
Yeah.
It's fucking broke. Just tackled probably the biggest ascent that we have throughout this run, and we'll hit that one more time on the way back to the car for the final time later. But headlamp off, it's getting visible out here, so we're gonna get to take on the rest of this run in the daylight. Probably be a cloudy day, but good visibility will definitely help us to pick up the pace. And I think we're feeling good. I'll check in on Mark, but all in all, we're off to a pretty good start. We've been out here a little over 2 hours, almost 9 miles in. So we're moving all right. But again, patience is definitely our virtue today. So loop 1, we did in about 3.5 hours. Out on loop 2 now, shoot for probably about 3:15 on this one. Full visibility now, and just keep moving, really. Not forcing anything, just embracing time on feet, time ascending, some elevation gain, and a lot of practice with fueling and mental strategies through hours on trails. Building strength in the legs, building an engine that can handle miles of fatigue. That's the goal. Training works. You just have to do it. You have to be able to embrace monotony and discomfort and feelings that what you're doing might not pay off. Whether it pays off or not, you need to learn to have gratification for the work, not the result. You have to love that work. So make sure whatever you want to work towards, you love it, because it will tear you down. It will force you to love it, or else you will quit. You will dissolve into dust unless you love it. About 20 miles in, eating a banana, probably take a spring gel right after eating this banana. We're moving. We are moving through to the turnaround point again. And once we hit that turnaround point, it's just about 7 miles back. So just continuing to stay consistent, embrace the climbs, and really just enjoy the day out here. It's nice and quiet, nice and windy and cold too, but I kind of like it. I like being able to put on a jacket, long sleeve, and just kind of get after it. So all right, on the way back now, about 22 or 23 miles in, somewhere around there. I just got tripped up and wrapped around a tree a little bit out here, which is all good, no problem, but unfortunately, this has happened before where I fall during a trail run, and for whatever reason, my watch has a setting that I still haven't turned off that detects what it believes to be an incident, and it wants to send notification to your emergency contacts. So I canceled that before it sent anything to Abby and my mom. But what it does, and I don't know why they weren't able to not allow it to do this, but it ends your run. So I had to start a new run. So I'm not sure the total distance that we're in right now. I want to say I fell around 22. But I'll have 2 runs of data from today. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go into the Garmin app and fix that setting because I'm notorious for falling, and I really don't want to continue losing these long runs. Funny enough, now I'm a little bit behind Marc, so I gotta catch up to Marc. Here we go. .8 miles complete. It's a good one. Good one. 6,400 feet of gain is what Marc had on his watch. Mine split up into 2 because I fell, but it was over 6,000 feet of gain over 28 miles, which is great. Great practice for the entire race of Cocodona for Marc, but also the first 50K of that race is the most elevation gain in that stretch that you'll get at any other point of the course. So great practice for him. Super proud of the way he pushed through. Super proud of the way he pushed through, especially once we hit that final turnaround. He made it hard to catch him after I had fallen. And he was down to leave me out there, man. I don't think he even turned around. Dude, when I was on the ground, I looked up. I'm on the ground, bent around a tree. And I'm I wonder if he'll turn around.
Did you see me running?
Yeah.
Oh, bro?
You were just gone. I was just laying on the ground whatever.